Morning everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Jan Kjelstra and I'm a dairy farmer from Saskatchewan, Canada. Today we are feeding the milk herd, the first load and the second load for the day. And that is because we are demoing a brand new feed mixer wagon. So this is a 2800 Trioliet. It's a twin screw, twin axle. It's got a few options which we'll go over here in a second. But this is a sweet feed mixer wagon. The reason why we're looking at something like this is we just want a bigger wagon. So I had asked the dealer for Trioliet to just give us a price on a equivalent sized Supreme mixer wagon to the 1200T, and he brought this one out. So that is the story behind this thing. We do currently run the 900T Supreme feed mixer wagon. And we have been running that feed mixer wagon for 16 years now, the same one. Well, I think we're on the fourth one, but the same model. There's been no appetite to switch up until now. We are feeding 3 loads to the milk cows. And if we upgraded to something like this, it would shrink that down to 2 loads a day and save us a bunch of time. And we'd also be able to get rid of a load in the corrals. So 2 loads a day, you know, you start looking at saving quite a bit of time. Just stepping up to a wagon like this. Why not 100% stick to Supreme? Their warranty has kind of not treated us the way we want it to be treated in the last couple of years. Don't get me wrong, 16 years, you know, 14 have been perfect, but just recently we are not upset. Still a good feed mixer wagon. This is still the biggest deciding factor whether we get into a different brand or not is going to be price. It's just we figured we'd look at other places, not only one brand anymore. Still very likely to end up with a Supreme, but we're not gonna close the door to every brand right off the bat. But I think that's enough about that. Let's talk about this awesome looking feed mixer wagon. The first thing you notice is it is twin axle. It's still got 2 screws in there. I believe this wagon is 4 square meters larger than our 900T, roughly. I'm not entirely sure. So we've got, we'll take this guy down. Folding ladder. There's one set of hydraulics that go into the tractor, but it's got 4 remote features on this wagon. It's got a twin speed gearbox here for the screws, so it's got a low turning speed and then a high turning speed, which is pretty cool. We got our scale right up there. This looks to me like it's a rad to keep the oil cool. It's got an adjustable dog leg, so that can go up and down from the cab. It's got brakes. We do not have those hooked up though. We are pretty flat here on the prairie. It's got a rear unload, which is not really something that we would need, but this wagon has it anyway. Two-speed jack for the wagon. Pretty cool. Yeah, this is a cylinder to lift that guy. I guess our Supreme, it shifts back and forth. This one just tilts. It's kind of achieves the same thing, I guess. But one thing that we really like about this Trioliet versus the Supreme, this feeder chain on the Trioliet is just massive. It is bulky. It's probably twice as big as the chain on the Supreme, and that's where we've been having issues historically. We've broken the chain once or twice on a 2-year cycle with our previous feed wagon. So that's not even doesn't add up to much money, but you need to go 365 days a year, and that's what concerns us about the chain being small. So anyway, we have to run with the lights on because that's how we have this wagon wired into the tractor. So we're gonna go grab a loader and start filling this wagon. We're gonna mix 3 milk cow loads in 2 loads this morning with this bigger feed mixer. This is the last feature I'll show you guys. So you just run one hydraulic constant and you can do all of the controls from this box right here, which is really interesting. Back door. I don't know if you guys can see the indicator there, but there is an indicator on that scale display that shows you how open the back door is. Now it's fully closed. This is your front door. And of course, your unload. So pretty neat. Can I tilt it while unloading? No. So you can do one at a time here. The only other thing to discuss about this wagon is it is 1 foot 4 inches taller than the current mixer wagon that we're running. So that's a bit of a struggle in our feed mill. This thing, it does fit. We tried it out yesterday, but boy is it close. If this thing was going to stay here, we would have to do some alterations there just to make sure that it was a little bit more idiot proof, mostly for myself. Shout out to New Vision Agro. They're the ones who brought this wagon out for us to demo. It does, because it's so tall, need a long reach loader. Yesterday our New Holland, the cylinder, tip cylinder on the bucket buggered up, started spraying oil again. So luckily we still have a demo wheel loader here that's extended reach. So we'll go grab that and start filling this thing with silage. That wheel loader being the Lugong. We still have not put 8 hours on this thing, so I don't feel bad about grabbing it since our New Holland is down. Gotta grab this bucket and we'll head out there. So this feed mixer wagon is a tall one, that is for sure. So we definitely do need a high reach or extended reach, high lift wheel loader to fill it. The other option though is always you could dig a little hole or make a ramp, either or, a ramp for the loader or a hole for the wagon, and then you could reach in there a little easier. For us, I think we would, you know, our New Holland wheel loader is an extended reach unit already anyway, so we're equipped to fill something like this. Haven't even got a bucket of silage in there yet, and we're like an hour into this, but that's how it goes. Real quick, I just switched it from pounds to kilograms. We're one of the few farms in North America, I think, that actually feed their cows in kgs. Lots of guys still in pounds. So, yeah, whatever floats your boat, we're gonna start filling this wagon. Now the most concerning part for me, trying to fit underneath all these augers. Boy, does that thing look good over there. on this side. And we're definitely not touching on this side. So it for sure works. It's just, you gotta go so straight. We're about to dump the first ever Trioliet mixed load of feed on this dairy farm ever. Went pretty good. Takes a bit of time to figure things out. It is all new to me, so just things like lining up to the augers and getting the silage in the wagon. We'll see how unloading goes. So that's it. We still got tons of room. I think we are probably closer to 2 loads with the Supreme than we think. I don't know. Looks good. Let's get it dumped. Our unload is pretty consistent. Considering the first time with this feed wagon, I think it's, you know, it's smooth, it's not a bunch of bumps, but just taking a look inside the wagon after that first load. We used the 2nd speed gearbox to clean it out, and yeah, we can see here that it's virtually spotless. There's no feed. I don't think there's 10 kgs left in here. So okay, we're gonna go unload the 2nd load to the milk cows. I got you guys here so you can see the control box. So once again, I just have this one hydraulic and float, and I can push this forward to run the unload chain. This does the door, this does the back door, this tilts that unload conveyor, and then this is my high-low gears. We won't be touching this until we're empty. But then I'll put you guys here and you can watch kind of what I'm doing and maybe see the unloading in the process as well. So there we go. Oh, our door's not even open. What am I doing? Yeah, that looks good to me. So we're at the last, we got the last 1250 kgs in the wagon. I want to dump it in this front section. I am going to switch it to high gear on the screws so that we can empty it out better. This is our dry cow load, so we do have the opportunity to fill it right full, which is that's a lot of silage in a wagon. So this is for dry cows, bred heifers, and then we add some minerals and then feed some close-up cows. So it is 5 days since I've fed the first load with this, and I've been feeding every single morning. I just wanted to get a good idea of how I feel about this feed wagon before I post this video. It's not something I usually do. I usually film the video and upload it the next day, quick. But I just couldn't do that with this because I had to get a little more used to it, give it more of a chance, feed with it every morning, try to get used to it more, to give it a more fair chance of what I think about it. And I think we kind of got it. It's a tall, big wagon. I plugged it up on the first day because I shut the PTO off. In my opinion, you should be able to shut the PTO off with the wagon full and then turn it back on without needing to worry about shear bolts, and that is not the case with this thing. The reason why I think, you know, in my opinion, I could be wrong, that you need to be able to do that is because if you're turning sharp, even though this does have a CV joint there on the PTO, if you're turning sharp, it still vibrates pretty quickly in your turn, so you can't make a sharp turn whatsoever. And to be working on a farmyard, you need to be able to turn. So that means you got to shut the PTO off sometimes when the wagon's full, and you just can't do that in this thing because, well, you'll hate the decisions you've made at that point. Then let's put it that way. One thing that is pretty nice about it, though, it is really easy to replace that shear bolt, and you do get used to it after doing it 30 times. Anyway, moving along, the other thing that I think is kind of iffy about it is the 2-speed gearbox. It is cool, you know, in the perfect world, flick a switch, turn the screws quicker, clean it out a lot better. But again, you're just adding things to go wrong to a machine, and we're very simple. The best part is one that doesn't exist. So get rid of that. I think, in my opinion, we definitely don't need a 2-speed gearbox. You're just asking for stuff to go wrong once you start doing stuff like that. I do really like the windows. Big heavy feeder chain on there. Suspension is smooth. It definitely doesn't rock as much as our Supreme mixer wagon, and that is because this thing has a very nice suspension underneath here. It is very similar to the one we have on our bunning manure spreader, so that is really cool. And the rear door is pretty interesting. Yeah, I think it's an option that I would get on a feed wagon in the future. Just when you do find yourself in that pickle of the wagon's full, it's jammed, it's plugged, opening that door really bails you out. This is that heavy chain that I'm talking about. That's what we like the best about this feed wagon, aside from the sheer size, the volume. Very cool jack. If you push it in and you run it, it goes very slow on a very low gear, and then you pull it out and it goes really quick. So that is very fancy. We really like that. Dog leg, I don't know what I like better. Our Supreme slides out, slides back in. This one tilts. They kind of achieve the same thing, but I think the sliding one is a little easier to work with, maybe, although this is perfectly fine as well. The scale is incredibly accurate on this one. That is one thing I definitely notice with the Supreme. You got to shut it off sometimes in the barn, 200 kgs before your target, and this one, you know, shut it off when you're on it pretty much, because it's just so instant. As the feed is leaving the wagon, it's instantly showing the 100% accurate weight on the scale, which is pretty cool. So I guess it's got a separate rad here for cooling the oil on the gearbox, the 2-speed gearbox. The last thing to mention about this feed wagon, it's another thing that I think is unnecessary. All the fancy features that you can spec these things out with, we are not big fans of, but I can see the attraction of this control box, but if it was up to me, I just want my hydraulics on the tractor. So right now what we do is we just put this one in constant, and then we can have access to all of these controls. So you flick out and the chain just starts running. It's 1 speed though, and I don't really like that. I would like to just have a hydraulic there, and then I can, while I'm driving down the barn, I can slow it down or speed it up and push it out. Right now, if I do it, I need to adjust the flow speed on the one hydraulic that controls everything. That's fine, it's definitely doable. But then, okay, if I shut this off and I have slowed the flow right down, I go close the door, it's like, hey, why is that thing not moving? Oh yeah, I gotta go turn the flow up again and then close it. Or maybe it slams shut like crazy. It's like, hey, why'd that happen? Oh, I have the flow too high because I was running the chain too much, or, you know, stuff like that. It's just unnecessary. Keep it simple. Give me the 4 hydraulics in the tractor. All in all, looks like an excellent feed wagon. Longevity, obviously we can't say too much about that as we haven't run it, but the screws are massive. You know, the screws are 7/8 inch thick steel. That is phenomenal. I think that's a characteristic of a feed wagon that's going to last years and years, if not decades. You know, that's some pretty thick hardware in there. It's a solid machine, looks to me. The frame is heavy. The walls are thick on the tub. I don't know exactly how thick they are, but it's definitely a heavy duty unit. Looks pretty solid built. The only downside though, I think a 2800 or 28 cubic meter model is a little bit on the small end. We would probably go for their 3200. Still a twin screw model, just 32 cubic meters of volume on the inside. The reason for that is because our one dry cow and bred heifer load, it's already overflowing in this wagon. So there's no point us spending all this money upgrading the feed wagon if we don't kill all the loads that we need to, making 1 load instead of 2. If we can't do that, we gotta go bigger, otherwise there's no point spending the money, right? So, but anyway, thank you very much to New Vision Agro for bringing this out. Dustin brought it out. He's brought us a demo before, and yeah, it's been fun trying this thing out. We are definitely gonna have to try the Supreme though, or some other wagons yet to get a good feel, but this one is definitely in the running for our next feed wagon, I'd say, Trioliet. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed feeding with this wagon for the last couple days, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.